Hi again from the garden. It's Christina from Sunshine and Flora. So I am out here this morning starting to tag my dahlias to get them ready to dig out of the ground. We have a bunch of rain moving in this afternoon, so I'm out here. I want to get this done before that moves in. It's actually pretty cold out here, which is why I have double sweatshirts on if you're wondering what this look is. My dahlias finally bit the dust last week. They're still in the ground, which is totally fine. I actually don't think we have any freezing temperatures in the forecast for the next 10 days. But I definitely need to start getting these out of the garden. I definitely need to start getting the whole garden dug out because I haven't really started anything yet. So anyway, today's task is tagging the dahlias. So I wanted to just show you guys what I'm using and how I do it. Now I'm using something different from what I did last year. Last year I used some of that bright orange flagging tape that you can easily rip off and tear around the base of the dahlia. I found these tags on Amazon and I'm thinking that they might be easier because they just kind of loop through and hook, and I think that they will have less chance of coming off that way. I don't know. I'm going to try it. They're a plastic material. They're pretty thin, yet they do not rip. I've tried to rip one and they're really sturdy. So I will find the link and I'll put it down below in the description. And to mark them, I'm using a garden marker. I will also link this down below. When you're marking tags that are going to be in the outside, or you need them for a long period of time, or you think they're going to get wet, always use a garden marker because this does not fade like a Sharpie does. So I'm simply going to use my garden marker. I'm going to write the name of the dahlia tuber on here, and then I'm going to attach it around the bottom, and then I can cut off the top branches, and then I know this whole clump of tubers is marked. So first I need to find the tags that are next to my plants. Okay, so this one says Touche. I remember really liking this variety, so this is definitely a keeper for next year. So I'm just going to write it nice and big. Take one rubber band off of there. All right, then, and I'll zoom in on this too so you guys can see exactly where I'm putting this. But I'm just putting it around the base of the stem, and it's going to lock in the little notches, and then that to me looks like it's not going anywhere. And then all of these upper branches I'm going to cut off and get rid of. These are actually going to go in my container that I'm going to take to the dump, but for now they're just going to lay in front of me. And then look, one plant is already done and cleaned up. So let me zoom in with the camera so you guys can see all this a little bit closer. Okay, so here's the dahlia plant that I'm going to be working with. You can see my Swan Island tag here. This says Diva. So I have taken my marker and I have written Diva right on the end of there. Now I'm going to put this right around the base of my dahlia plant, and you can see that this has little notches in it. So you just want to loop this through, and then it's going to catch one of those notches. And that is really solid. That is not going anywhere. But then I want to get rid of the rest of this plant, which this is actually getting soft. And so you want to make sure to cut all of that off. And see, these are hollow too. So you get all of that out of there. And then I am left with just this part of the plant, and the whole clump of tubers is right down here. So I'm going to leave my tag on here, and I'm going to leave the tag in the ground just in case. But now this set of dahlias is ready to dig up. Okay, so I'm going to keep moving through this bed. I probably have about 30 dahlia plants right here. Then I have another bed at the end of the garden that has, I think, 24 to 30 more dahlia plants, and I'm starting to feel sprinkles. So I need to get going. I will get this done, and then I will show you what my beds look like when I'm done. And we'll see if we have time before the rain really starts coming in to dig a couple of these clumps up and see how many tubers they produced over the season. Okay, you guys, so I have this bed cleared out. I wanted to go ahead and show it to you because it is starting to sprinkle, and just in case it starts to rain, I wanted to at least show you one bed. So I'm going to zoom in down here, and I want to show you how short I'm cutting the stalks. So if you guys can see this, you can tell that I have left quite a bit of stock on this dahlia. That's because I want to make sure that this tag does not slip off. But again, I did leave the tag in the ground next to it, and you can see throughout this bed all the little white tags. Those are marking all of the little clumps. There is wood chips down on here. I'm going to leave those over the winter. But when I dig these, I'll also dig the few weeds out of here, get this all cleaned up, and it will be all ready to go for next year. All right, I'm going to go do the other bed, and then hopefully it's not raining and we can dig a couple of these clumps up. Okay, you guys, so I got this bed cleared out too. I know it's kind of hard to see, but there's actually 2 rows of dahlias planted here. They're planted 12 inches apart this way and 18 inches apart this way. And you can see my T-posts here and my leftover string. This is what I was using to support the dahlias. So I found in this bed that there were a few that actually didn't even come up, and then there were a couple that I must not have marked or my tag went somewhere. So I did end up putting a white tag on them with a question mark because I wanted to make sure that I knew where those were and I didn't want to miss them when I was digging them up. So it is starting to rain right now, but I do want to quickly dig up a couple clumps just to see how many tubers a couple of these plants produced over the season. So we're going to go back to the other bed and dig a couple up for fun real quick because once it starts raining, I don't think it's going to stop for a few hours. Okay, you guys, I want to just dig up a couple of these clumps for fun. It is raining lightly, so I want to do this real quick and get my camera out of the rain, but real quickly, most of this whole bed were all planted as single tubers. I ordered a lot of these from Swan Island Dahlias, and then I ordered some in the spring from the Flower Hat, the Farmhouse Flower Farm, I think it's called. So these were not clumps. These were all single tubers that got planted in the ground. So let's dig a couple up and let's just see for fun how many tubers these plants actually produced. I'm going to put the camera a little bit closer so you can see as I pull these out of the ground. All right, hopefully you guys can see this okay, but this is the one that I'm going to dig right here. This is called Ginger Willow. It was a tiny pom-pom dahlia, yellow and orange colorings. I know that I got this one from, I believe it's called the Farmhouse Flower Farm, and I will link these sites down below. But this I know was a single tuber. So let's see how many tubers this one gave me. You know, every plant will produce different depending on, I don't know, maybe their growing conditions, but also the actual plant that they are. Oh my gosh, you guys. Can you see this? This is stuck down in here a little bit. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at that. So clearly this was probably the mother tuber. Look at all those nice, healthy tubers that this produced. Now, it is not for sure that all of these will get an eye, but if they do, I'm going to get a lot of plants from that next year. Let's dig one more. Oh, I should also mention, here's the tag that I just put on it. I am going to keep this on it. I'm going to put this inside till I'm ready to store these. That will be a whole separate video. That is just awesome. Okay, the next one I'm going to dig is right next to it. This one is Marn. It's M-A-A-R. And these were huge producers for me this year and is definitely on my grow list for next year. Now, when you dig these also, you don't want to put the shovel right next to the stalk because you're going to slice right through that. That's why I'm going away from it and I'm trying to pop it up loose in the dirt. I need to go from this side too. And I'm just loosening the soil around it. There we go. Then that way I can lift this whole thing out of the ground. Oh wow, you guys. I'm going to try and get some of this dirt off so you can see it. Clearly, this single tuber also produced some tubers. Now, these don't look as big as the others, but there's still a lot on there. There's also a lot of worms in here. Let me get those out, just so you guys can see this a little better. There's always a lot of dirt jammed up in there. Okay, so this again was a single tuber. And wow, I mean, look at all the tubers that came off of that plant. All right, that's gonna do it for digging for this day. I better get these inside. Okay, you guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I gotta get inside out of the rain, but I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the process of how I mark these and a couple of the surprise clumps that I pulled up. I will make sure to do another whole entire video when I dig the rest of these up and show you how I store them so that I can plant them again next year. So stay tuned for a lot more this fall. We'll see you soon.